Good morning.
Morning, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you. Sun is shining. I'm all good.
Do you know what? This is the guest we've been teasing other people that is actually like coming up.
Yeah.
And we finally got him.
He's here.
So there we go.
He's here.
Without further ado, and I'm not going to use the one he's told me not to use, we're going to just go. It's Scott Russell.
Yay, welcome.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. The sun is cascading through those windows.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's
You
lovely.
brought the sunshine. Beautiful.
Always.
Always.
We're going to burst the bubble of like live podcasting to go, yeah, imagine if we release this on a Wednesday and it's pissing it down.
We won't.
Yeah, okay.
I think every day
We'll
now
wait for
the
a
rest
sunny
of the year.
Well, it's going to be now because we met Scott.
Obviously.
There you
We're
go.
just going to walk around in sunshine now for the rest of our lives.
Okay, so this is definitely one where I think people are definitely not going to want to hear from me. Maybe you, but not me. But they're going to want to hear from Scott. So, Scott, take us back to the point of growing up. Local boy?
No, not at all. So I grew up, I was born in Ilford in East London and grew up from a sort of an East London family, actually. So my aunties, uncles, everyone when you grew up in East London is your auntie.
It's everyone's your auntie and uncle.
Do you know what? Auntie Doris, Uncle John, and I had no idea whether they were my real uncles or not. But you gave respect to your elders.
Yeah.
I only thought the rules of like the like growing up in East London is everyone at school had a I know the craze. Or someone had a way that they always knew the
some
craze.
kind of connection.
And then Scott's going to go, well, actually, what you mean, Uncle Reg? Yeah.
Uncle Ray.
Uncle Ronnie, of course. So, grew up to an East London family. They were staunch West Ham supporters, and West Ham has played a big part of my life. My brother played for West Ham as a youth. My father played for West Ham, and then later played for Leyton Orient. And my mum was one of these. She was a model at the time, but she was doing modelling in the stores and the window dressing, and it was making these look absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So these two were the very early sort of Posh and Beckhams, my parents.
Oh, wow.
It was lovely.
Love
So my
that.
mum was very beautiful. My dad had was a tempestuous football player.
Oh, okay.
But they got together and had my brother and I.
And he was West Ham, then on to Leyton.
Went on to Leyton Orient, yes. I never broke into the first team. My dad was managed under Dave Sexton, who at the time was the England under-21 manager.
Okay.
And then was a very fiery player and got a free transfer to Leyton Orient and played at Leyton Orient. And then later on played in for the London Stock Exchange. So I think he was chosen to work at the Stock Exchange, not for his stockbroking skills, I think his football skills.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever lost the game.
He was drafted in as a ringer, right?
Yeah, it was like the guy in the interview said, "Oh my God, are you Adam Russell? I watch you. I'm a Leyton Orient supporter." And my brother played youth football for West Ham and then went on to play semi-professional. So, and my grandfather played for Charlton, so very football
family, yeah.
And I think that's ingrained in that East London psyche, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so school was East London as well?
No, my parents moved away. When my dad stopped playing football, we moved away to Essex.
Okay.
And I lived in a little town called Thundersley. Then we grew up in Hockley.
Okay.
So, and went to a local comprehensive school and left school when I was 16. So,
Okay.
Loved school, actually. Really enjoyed school. Wasn't really good at it. Wasn't good at school, but I really loved it. And I was one of those students that just kept putting their hand up the whole time. Just wanted to ask questions, but I think at those times that was considered disruptive. And,
Can you stop asking questions, please? Can you stop learning?
When we grew up, my parents are quite entrepreneurial, so they were market traders at the time, and we would sit there, and they say never talk politics, pigeon, at a table, and all we spoke was business and politics. That's all we spoke about. And I learned to cash up really early. I learned the value of a pound really early, and I learned that if you invest your money, then you turn that into more. You didn't have to work so.
Did you quite often ever go and help your dad on the market stall?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. My brother and I, we were probably 9 or 10, and all of our school holidays were getting up really early and working on the markets. And what we worked out at an early stage is to keep us from under their feet, they would give us tasks and little jobs to do. So I got a job. My first job was selling horse chestnuts. And I worked out that actually I'm taking money, 30, 40, 50 pounds a day. And I said to my dad, I think I can do this myself. Now I'm 9 years old. 9 years old. He said, okay, we'll make you a brazier. We'll make you this thing and we'll get you to do it. And I bought a bag of chestnuts, £12 it cost me. And I sold them for 55 quid on my first day. And went home with the profits, and my mum took her 25%.
Obviously.
You got to learn to pay the boss, haven't you?
Yeah.
And,
any relationship to Rachel Reeves? Or?
No, not yet. Yeah, not yet. So my mum was very entrepreneurial. My dad was very supportive.
Okay.
And grew up in a really loving family, actually.
Okay, so you left school. Grades okay?
No, terrible, actually.
Okay.
I got one O-level because I was the last year to do O-levels.
Mm-hmm.
So in art.
Okay.
So it was not a bad sort of, I could draw thing. And I was pretty good at football. So I played football and I boxed as well. This was a time when, growing up with East London parents, you either played football or you boxed.
Oh, you boxed, yeah.
And I wasn't as good football as my brother. So I ended up going into boxing ring and I learned to box and that was good. So that when we moved to Essex, I was this tough little East London lad. And that reputation sort of stuck.
Sounds like you left school as like the hybrid of Only Fools and Horses. So you've got Del Boy entrepreneurial and Rodney's CSE in art, haven't you?
I've never thought of it that way.
There you go.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, I like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So was that then, were you determined to entrepreneur or did you just want to go get a job?
No, not at all. So we were always told never work for anybody else. Always work for yourself, but get yourself a trade. So that was really important. So the time when I left school, when I was 16, my parents were in the jewellery business. So I went into the jewellery business and I got an apprenticeship in Hatton Garden. And,
okay, nice.
I worked as part of the youth training scheme. So you got paid £28 a week or something. And I went to college 2 days a week. But my mum managed to get me into Sir John Cass College, which was one of the best design schools in the world, actually, at the time. Probably still is now. It's Cass Business School. And I learned business and gemology. And that was great. So I had 2 years of learning how to run. I knew the concept of buying horse chestnuts and selling them, but I actually learned how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And that was a brilliant revelation. And I've never, ever worked for anybody. Never had a boss, ever. Because even when I was on the youth training scheme, you're seconded to a company. So you don't work for them. You're just seconded to them. And their job is they got paid to take you on as an apprentice. But my employer, I suppose at the time, would have been the government, paying my money. And then when I finished my apprenticeship, I set up my own business, my own jewelry.
Okay, so the first jewelry business, like how did you fund it?
Through the money I was making as an apprentice. So I realised
the money for the horse chestnuts.
Yeah, from the horse chestnuts. So being an apprentice, you got to use the workbench at your lunchtime. And my parents had they had 3 jewelry shops at the time. So I was taking in their repairs and then doing that in my lunch break. But then realising actually that I couldn't cope with the demand. So I then approached all the other apprentices along the garden. It was known as the garden at the time.
Yeah.
And I was getting those guys in their lunch break to do the repairs. And then I was approaching other shops in Southend and Shoebury, where my parents' shops were, to say, look, this is the Hatton Garden Jewellers. We can do a much better job. We can do it cheaper. And by the time I'd left, I had 18 apprentices working for me. So I was making about £600 a week.
Insane.
Yeah. And then, so I'd left with probably about £3,000 or £4,000. But I was employing apprentices. And then, so that's how I made it. So I realised actually, it's easier the other people to do the work for you.
And how old would you have been at this age?
I would have been 18. So 2 years I did. It was a 3-year apprenticeship. I only did 2 years because by then I think my boss had got pissed off with me.
Well, that's the when you
first of many clients that got pissed off with me and said, look, it's probably best for you. He was very lovely, actually, really nice guy. And he said, look, it's probably best if you go out and start on your own.
Yeah.
And he said, if you ever want to use us, you can do. And he supplied me findings, which is the bits of jewellery that you need. So the solder, the tools, the shanks, the collarettes, all of the stuff that you need to make jewellery, I was buying from my old boss.
Oh, nice.
And then creating my own works of art and making engagement rings. And it was lovely because when you're selling an engagement ring to somebody, it's a really lovely time. It's a really lovely time, isn't it? That there's love in the air and I could sketch this beautiful ring and I would sketch everything I knew I could buy.
Yeah.
So it was, and I would say that's a very beautiful
so
design.
creative. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to be difficult to source this one.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I can buy the parts for this pretty cheap. And I realised that I could probably make a ring, not including the stone, for about, I don't know, a couple £100, but you could charge 2,000 quid.
Yeah.
So the margins were huge.
Yeah.
And the mystery of stones and gemology, I mean, you can pay £80 for a diamond or you can pay £8,000. So it's the difference between the colour, the clarity.
Yeah.
But most people, when they've got love in their eyes,
they don't see.
Really see
They'll
it.
pay what, yeah.
But do they do the same thing? Like when you get like people who are wine connoisseurs and you get the people who kind of think they know what they're talking about. So you get someone who's going, oh yeah, look at the earthy tones and you can taste the notes of rhubarb and what have you, and they go, yeah, not a clue. Do you find the same with like gems, where you go, look at this, you can see the clarity as a VVS or it's a whatever, and they go,
you know your stuff,
and they're looking at this eyeglass, and you go, I've just made this up, and they're going, oh yeah, you can see how perfect this is.
The best thing is you give somebody an eyeglass. Yeah. Most people don't know how to use an eyeglass. So if they don't know how to use it, you can say what you want.
You already know you're winning. Yeah.
Now, so many people pick up an eyeglass and they do that and they're trying to look at the table. They've got no idea.
That is what I would do.
Yeah, exactly. So I tell you about rhubarbs and
I'd be like, yeah.
But if you pick that eyeglass up and you then picked up the stone and you zoomed it in properly and then you moved the light around, I'm thinking, actually, this person knows what they're talking about. So I've got to dampen down my enthusiasm.
Yeah, the $8,000 stone is now it's an £800 stone.
Like, oh, Christ, this person knows what they're talking about. So I loved it. Really enjoyed that time.
So what was next?
So I got robbed.
More jewels?
No.
Okay.
So I got robbed. I was living with my parents.
It wasn't anything to do with the Hatton Garden actual bank job, was it?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Anything I do or say can't be held in evidence.
Your Honour.
So, Your Honour. So no, and then I got robbed, and they broke into my parents' house, and then and that was a really stressful time for my mum and dad. And then I got robbed again about 8 weeks later. So I got robbed twice. So my parents said, look, no more working from home. You've either got to move out, move your business out somewhere, because you can't be running your workshop, garage. People are breaking it. And they were stealing jewellery and so forth. So she said, well, by the way, I think it's time that you move out.
Yeah, why don't you go with
it? I had 4 bin bags of clothes.
You've got 18 employees. And
all
literally you're going, I'm still making your fish fingers. Honestly, it's time for you to sling your hook.
You know what? That wasn't far from the truth, actually. I think she sort of said, it's time that you bought a house. So my parents said to me, right, okay, get a house, put a big deposit down. I had quite good savings at the time. But all my friends were buying studio apartments and things like that. And at the time, I mean, this was back in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. You could buy a studio flat in Southend for 18 grand, 19 grand. It was very cheap. And my first house was a 3-bedroom listed cottage in a lovely little village. And I paid £60,000.
Oh,
so
wow.
3 times what my friends were paying. And I kept that and I did a bit of work to that and I ended up selling that house for 100 grand. And that was a huge lesson there that, when I had cash, invest in property. Yeah. And I've been investing in property all my life, actually, and still have although I've had a divorce, I still have a reasonable property portfolio now, actually. Nice. And that's always been my base of what.
Okay, so what was hang on a second, I'm going to do this mid-podcast. Can you just adjust your mic and put it closer to your face?
A little bit closer then.
Yeah, lovely. So was there then the temptation, and I don't know whether you're going to tell me this exactly what you did, to go straight into property at this point, like full-time?
No, basically, I was a bit disillusioned with jewellery, actually. So it was my trade, but it was forced upon me to go into jewellery, and the constraints of your experience. Do I know your father? Do I know this? Do I know that? And it's very much run by not a cartel, but the good deals you wouldn't get at my age. You just wouldn't get it. So I spied a job actually as working. Yeah, it said, do you want to earn 100 grand a year?
First
thing you said.
Instantly Scott's like, oh yeah, hang on a second.
And it was in the Evening Standard. Do you want to earn 100 grand a year? And it said, and I didn't see the rest of it. I just saw, you
just saw 100 grand.
Yes. Now it was a postgraduate job.
Okay.
It was, you had to be a minimum of 21. You had to have had a degree in business or finance or thereabouts. And you had to, all of the things that I just did not have.
It's like our survey said, across the whole thing.
And I remember thinking, I'm going to go for this job. So, and I picked up the phone to the recruitment company, and I didn't know there was a recruitment company. I thought they were the people employing me. So I'd give the best pitch of my life. And he said, mate, he said, look, you're not pitching to me. He said, my job's to vet you. And he said, and you haven't passed any of it. He said, I do think they'll like you. He said, so I'm going to put you forwards. And I had this working for Mercury Communications. So it was this, at the time, there was a duopoly, it was a monopoly with British Telecom. And the British government brought in a second carrier, and they were known as Mercury Communications. And it was working with Mercury. But because I didn't tick any of those boxes, they put me on a self-employed contract, what they called an OPC. So I had a title, and an OPC it sounded grand.
Yeah.
I was working in London. I just watched, Wall Street, and I thought, I'm going to be a Wall Street broker. I have this lovely title, working in the city, got experience. I'm still quite young.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realise was OPC stood for Outside People Catcher. And my job was to stand there with a clipboard and get people to. And I went, that's not what it said. How am I going to earn 100 grand doing this? So I learned very quickly that you meant to give the leads to the salespeople. The salespeople then went out and closed the deal. And then I got paid a commission if the salesperson closed the deal. The person they seconded me to was a really useless salesperson. And I thought I could do a better job. So I said, why don't I get the lead? I'll close the deal and we'll split the commission with each other. And that was a guy called Nigel Butcher. Great guy, actually. And then within sort of 6-7 months, we decided to, let's do it ourselves.
As you do.
How difficult can this be?
Yeah.
We'll take on Mercury. We'll take them on.
Okay.
So I gave my job. I went to see the bosses and I said, look, you can see the trend here, can't you?
Yeah.
So I remember going there thinking, look, we'll offer our services as contractors because we're really good. And we said, look, we're going to set up a company called Network Europe Telecommunications. And we want to be agents for Mercury. We did the pitch and we had a whiteboard and I don't think that. Anyway, it didn't even get to the whiteboard. They said, right, you two out. And they just sort of bagged us. We don't want any sort of, so they fired both of us.
By the way, we're about to leave, but do you want to pay us like triple the money to basically do the same thing again? Yeah.
And I think my parting shot was, you made a big mistake there because I'm going to take you on and beat you. Now, this was a multi-billion pound business. Cable and Wireless was huge, who owned Mercury Communications.
Okay, yeah.
So, and then that was my first foray into corporate world. So I set up this business. I got a little office in Mayfair. Because I thought, you need a really nice, lovely address. So
that's the James Caan theory, isn't it? Was it James Caan who did it? Where he said, he started off and he literally had like a cupboard. But it's okay because the address was like,
Well, we had a broom cupboard, so I think he stole that from me, actually. I think he definitely stole it. So we hired this.
You can claim that.
James Caan litigators. We're not saying who came first.
I'm sure you stole that story from me. So we had this little broom cupboard in Brooks Mews, number 52 Brooks Mews in Mayfair. And it was fun. It was lovely. And we had this lovely address and a telephone system that says, thank you for calling Network Europe Telecommunications. If you want sales, press 1. For our HR team, press 2. And everyone went to one. And then we would say, good afternoon. And we'd have to change our voice every time someone would go, hello, good afternoon, Network Europe.
Yeah.
And
HR department.
And we had this sort of music on hold because we wouldn't play a performing rights license. We had music.
There's no playing. PRS. No money for PRS.
No. So we just hold the phone next to the radio. And it was just playing this like classic FM or something. It was so Heath Robinson. But we managed to secure some huge accounts. We were working with Nina Richet, the big cosmetic brand. Mm-hmm. And then the defining moment is that I managed to get a deal with the Bank of Canada, so the National Bank of Canada, to change out all their infrastructure. And we outsourced the whole work. It was a big contract and we did a really good job. And then lo and behold, we got a call from the UK Debt Management Office, which was the Bank of England. And we did the Bank of England dealer floor.
Wow.
And that was the two deals that just skyrocketed the business.
Wow.
And then we were approached by a plumbing company, actually, a national plumbing company. Well, at the time they weren't. They were a tiny business. And they said, look, we want to build a call centre. And this was before call centres were even thought of. Mm-hmm. But it was the concept of taking lots of inbound phone calls.
It wasn't Joseph Valenti, right?
No, but you'll know the brands, you'll know what it morphed into. So we said, look, we think we can do it, but they said we've got no money. So okay, well, that's cool. We were a young startup as well. I said, why don't we invest? Why don't we put some sweat equity in? We'll put in all the tech and all the infrastructure for an equity stake in your business. So we took a 50% equity stake, and we grew that.
That sounds like a really bad deal you negotiated there.
Well, it was.
Oh, no, I'm there thinking, if you can get 10-15% out of this one, but it's like, we'll take 50% of your business
we went straight to the 75%. They said no. And I said, but you haven't got a business.
That's like all you've
got nothing. We, my partner and I, with our big infrastructure, Bank of England, National Bank of Canada, we've got
and our broom cupboard at 52.
In our broom cupboard.
Yeah.
And here we can teach you how to hold phones against the radio.
So it was a case of, and we signed the contract and we grew that business. That grew really, really quickly. And we become the first company to spend £1 million a year with the Yellow Pages. It was a time when you pick up the Yellow Pages if you needed a plumber. And it was emergency plumbing services.
I was going to say, I had to start with an A if it was Yellow Pages.
It was A, 1, dot. It was, that one there. And we realised actually that what we learned very quickly is when you pick up the Yellow Page in a panic, you go from the back to the front, not the front to the back. And it was really expensive to be at the front of the book, but it was really cheap to be at the back of the book. And when you pick up the Yellow Pages now, if you do it in your hand, you flick from the back. So we realised that we could get our ads in much cheaper at the back and have a bigger impact. And by using local telephone numbers, we created the illusion that we were local all around the UK by using local area codes. And then we grew that business over 3 years, and it was then bought by GE Capital, which was at the time one of the largest companies in the world by market capitalisation. And that business went on to become HomeServe. So
wow.
Okay.
So yeah.
I thought I was going to say it went on to become the best cleaning thing. That dodgy Ponzi thing.
Well, it's a very, very tenuous link there, because I think HomeServe was created, but it was when we were owned by GE Capital. I think we were reversed. I didn't own the business at the time, but it was reversed into the consortium that later became. So that was a really big, and I learned a lot about tax planning actually, and the fact that I had none at all. And and that
I actually need to do this.
And I'm thinking, Christ, what do I do now? A huge tax bill. My accountant said the only thing I can do for you is use a thing called rollover relief, and we could just roll it into another company. So then I created a second company, and everything I'd learned in the first company, and I grew that to become a huge business, which I sold to Telstra, the Australian government-owned telco, and they bought that, and that was surgery lines.
So was that the? So hang on, you've got the comms company.
Yeah.
Then you kind of
morphed into
hijacked a plumbing company. Okay, so you morphed. So you didn't keep the comms company going at the same time.
We kept the comms company just in the background because the plumbing company just was exploding.
Yeah.
So we had that bubbling in the background, and then what we did is we created a new business called Business Telecom Maintenance, which incorporated our old business, and then we rolled over the gain into the new business, and that was a trading company, so it qualified for rollover relief. And then we grew that to become.
I love that. Hang on a second, just in case any HMRC inspectors are listening, it did qualify because they did officially roll it into another business.
Exactly. Well, we had to do that, and it had to be a trading business as well. So we had to trade before we could do the deal.
I love the way, because he's using all the terminology, going trading, and it's like, okay, fine. I get where we're going with this.
You can tell I've been in front of HMRC inspectors a few times, and that became a really great business that eventually morphed into a brand called Surgery Line, and Surgery Line was bought. Surgery Line did all the inbound telephony for the NHS. So if you ever used an 08 number to ring the NHS, that would have been on our network. So when we sold Surgery Line, we sold it to the Daisy Group, which was a FTSE 250 company.
Oh, Daisy Telecom were huge.
Massive, yeah. So, Matt, it'll come to me in a minute. But he bought us for a really big sum, but there was 5 of us in there, and we had some equity partners. But it was, tens of millions of pounds that we sold that for. And when we sold it, we had 18.5 million customers using our services.
Wow.
That was a good business.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when I moved to Suffolk.
Did you have the plan? When you started that company, was the plan to run it and earn from it, or run it and sell it?
No. So I'd learnt a lot from selling the plumbing company. And I realised if I sell a business, I can make a lot more money than running the business. So, and the key of doing that is making sure that you're not pivotal in running that business. Because no one can buy you, but they can buy what you've created. And what I also found is that no one will buy what you've done in the past. They're buying what the business can do in the future. So it's creating future revenue streams that are pretty robust. And we learnt that at a really young age. Bearing in mind, I'm in my mid-20s by now, so not particularly old. But I'd been working for myself since I was 8, so I knew how to negotiate contracts and deals. I didn't have the experience.
I don't think you need to justify that one. The 50% of the plumbing company,
I know,
in their phones,
and I thought, wow.
pretty much kind of went, all right, fine.
And this was before things like Google and that, so they couldn't sense check. They couldn't like, is he telling the truth?
There was no AI to check
really
with this.
Only in a broom cupboard in Mayfair? Do they own the whole building? No, you couldn't do that. Yeah. So it was done.
These deals generally go at 95%, so we're doing you a favour, only asking for 75.
No way to check it.
Yeah. So it was great, actually, good times, and it was that sort of, it was a time of prosperity in the UK. There was the Tony Blair government coming in. There was Call Britannia. There's the Spice. It was just a good time to be in business, and we were just riding the crest of that wave. And I realised that I didn't need to be in London anymore. Didn't need to be working in London, and then moved to Suffolk with my young family. Well, at the time, I had two young children, and decided to slightly older pace of life.
Wow, so it was a big company. So how did you roll over relief this into something else? There's obviously going to be another rollover relief story, right?
So I did. So I had some of the shares was in my personal name, some of them was in my company name.
Okay.
So I had a holding company, and the holding company had to get rid of this cash. So that's when I met a guy called Paddy Bishop.
Okay.
And this was back in 2007. and Paddy was running a lovely little deli in Old Soham. I just bought this lovely old manor house in Old Soham, beautiful old house. It had 13 bedrooms. It had a moat, so you couldn't see it from the beautiful. And I'd spent a fortune making this place look beautiful and lovely, and was loving being the country squire, but was bored, wasn't really working, wasn't doing much.
I was going to say, at this point, it's probably
contrast.
now a case of do what you want rather than do what you have to.
Yeah, look, I had school fees to pay, and running a big house is
and the contrast from London life to Suffolk is huge.
Huge. You're absolutely right. Yeah, personified in that lovely tone, isn't it? yeah, it was huge.
Can you tell when I got brought up?
Yeah, Suffolk girl. Yeah, you done well.
Yeah,
you done well.
I done that just for you. I put that on, by the way.
I know you did. Yeah, I know you did. So that was cool. And I met Paddy, and he was this effervescent sort of great guy, amazing guy. One of the best guys I've ever worked with, actually, Paddy. He's a really, really lovely, joyful human being to be around. And he come up with this idea of roasting coffee in a coffee shop. And this was a time when, there was Starbucks and Costas. You didn't have the sort of the coffee culture of the small independents yet. And we were probably one of the first to really embrace that. And Paddy said, look, I'm looking for, he goes, you'll get this. He said, I'm looking for $5,000 investment to buy a roaster. And I went, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give you $5,000. I said, I'm going to invest $5,000, but I want 50% of the company.
Oh, here we go.
I literally, and Paddy just shook my hands. Went, yeah, I'll do that. That's the reason why it was called Paddy and Scots, not Scott and Paddy, because it was actually Paddy that come up with the idea. Oh. And it wasn't even called Paddy and Scots, and it was called the Green Bean Coffee Company. But I didn't like that. And then when we formed the business, the formation officer said, what are you going to call the business? And I went, Paddy and Scots, just for now, until we find a name for the business. And then that start, we put our faces on the packet of coffee, and then we just pushed it, and the rest is history. Paddy and Scots now is a fantastic brand, amazing brand.
Yeah.
And although it's still a relatively small company, it punches way beyond its weight. So the brand now, with its concessions and franchises, the market value of that brand, if you work out how many cups of coffee are sold every day through Paddy and Scots, that's probably anywhere between 70 and £100 million business a year. Wow. That's turned into a big business now. And that's great. And so, again, just took another business through. I bought Paddy out about 8 years after working together, because it was a case that the business needed investment now. And if you can't put the money on the table, then I'll buy your shares off you.
Yeah.
So, and it was a very amicable. It wasn't. I think Paddy had turned his investment, made 100 times his initial investment.
Yeah.
So he was really happy with that.
Yeah.
And we parted company, shook hands, and they've been.
But it's always important, because ultimately, for that initial period, you're looking at it and going, we're both on the same page here.
Yeah.
You want to roast coffee. That's great. Let's go along and do this and scale. And then there's going to be a point where for him, it's like, well, hold on a second. I've lost my deli roots. I've lost my whatever. This is turning into this beast.
Yeah.
And obviously you're there kind of thinking, well, yeah, I've done this before with, the telecoms company and what have you. I'm quite used to dealing with investors and equity partners and stuff like that. Lots of meetings and lots of stuff. If you are now not on this page anymore, it's the perfect time to, part company.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that you summarise it pretty well there. I mean, it sounds brutal, but it wasn't. The business needed investment to grow. Otherwise, we would have just stagnated as a local coffee company.
Yeah.
3 little coffee shops and a nice lifestyle business. But, to take it into a global, and it's a global brand now.
It's global,
there are farm projects in East Africa, in Brazil. So it's turned into a really good business. And it will become a global brand. It will become a really big global brand. Maybe with the current owners. I hope the current owners take it. I mean, they've got good investors. It's well funded. So there's no reason why that they shouldn't turn it into a great brand. It's already a great brand. I take that back. You've got Jonathan Reed there. You've got Zoe Hill. You couldn't get 2 better people to run that business now.
But I think
are you still hands on with it, or are you?
No, not at all. No. Sold the business 2 years ago, and it was a complete walk away deal. It was a brilliant deal, actually, a fantastic deal for me. I'd taken an offer already from a PLC, and a New Zealand-based PLC, and you'd know the group. You certainly know their coffee shops, but there was an issue with the funding for the philanthropic projects that we're involved in, and getting shareholder approval to carry on doing that didn't sit well with us. So if there was an opportunity that they weren't going to invest in these projects, then the business would have imploded.
But that touches nicely on the point I was about to bring up, which is the point where it must be one of the most fulfilling things to be able to do. Because if you've got a love of business, which clearly you do, to be able to grow that business to that point, but also to do it doing so much good in the world.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's going to be, I mean, I don't even want to know what the number is. I'm sure you'll have a better idea than I. Yeah. Like, I mean, it must be tens of thousands of lives you've changed around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, I can't take any credit for what they're doing now, but I believe they're nearly up to 1 million school meals that they've funded. And not only that, but there are sort of dignity packs for young girls coming through the school. There are school meal programs. There are water projects that have been funded through the sale of the coffee. And, what you see is absolutely real. This is not, AI generated or Instagram ready.
Or a comic relief quick trip over.
Absolutely not. No. They are fully ingrained in these projects around the world. And I think it's very rare to see Zoe in the UK. She's always around somewhere, in Asia, in Africa or wherever she's always, full and forward and supported by, a supportive husband with Andy. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really good business, actually. Really proud of Paddy and Scott's. And I'm really proud because it's like seeing a teenage son or daughter go and do really well in the world.
Yeah.
They leave home, they get their first job, they get their first promotion.
And now they're flourishing.
And now they're flourishing. So whenever I see the brand, I smile. It's still my name on the brand. And I'm really, really proud of what they've done. I think they've done a great job.
Have they got a rebrand coming? Did I see that?
It was a brilliant marketing campaign. So they rebranded it for 1 month in aid of the International Women's Day.
Okay.
And they changed it to Jessie and something or else for a whole month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to highlight the importance of, hey, look, don't get me onto, but the schooling in East Africa is not like the schooling over here.
Mm-hmm.
And, young girls, wouldn't go to school if they were on their period. They just wouldn't do it. So they're missing out a week, a month when they can't go to school.
Yeah.
So tackling that's a thorny issue to tackle. So they've addressed that. They've dealt with that. Not to mention the children that didn't even have food in their bellies to go to school. Yep. So, they've addressed that. And, the Ryuga School Project, I founded the Ryuga School Project. It was my name is still on the board. And so my legacy is there, it's still there, but it's a wonderful thing to do. Yeah, absolutely. And if you can, everybody wants to do something that does better in the world. Doing good is good for business, right?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a prime example of.
Yeah, but it's a nice thing to be able to do because a lot of companies will go along and say, well, I'm putting 7%, 10%, 12%, whatever of my revenue back into marketing. And you can actually go and take that and say, well, I can take that money, do a whole load of good about it. And it's still a great, thing for the business in terms of marketing because people want to support a business that's doing good things around the world.
But you've got to get off your arse and do it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So we were paying a lot of money to Fair Trade and the Rainforest Alliance. So we was paying a 10% premium on our wholesale. And that's okay when it's a few $100s, but then it's a few $1,000s, then it's $10,000, then it's $20,000. And hold on a minute, we're paying a lot of money here.
It's just a story you told, wasn't it, about going down to their head office?
Let's go and do it. Let's do it ourselves. And it's well documented that I wanted a meeting with the chief exec of Fair Trade and said, I want to know what you're doing with our money. And when they don't want to see you or don't want to talk to you, it's just a red flag, isn't it?
Mm.
So,
well, also describing their offices was probably
very beautiful offices, very lovely office in Tabernacle Street.
So,
in London,
did you not get a meeting?
I did get a meeting.
Oh, you did
in a beautiful office with these lovely opening doors, these football tables everywhere. It was lovely. I tell the story a lot actually, but it was good. And it then, knowing it's really important, right, to know your supplier's supplier, really important, and going up your supply chain to make your business more efficient. Yeah, you can do it. It does take effort. It does take time. And also you need to kiss a few frogs as well, right? So, we didn't just end up in East Africa. We went to India, to Colombia, to East Africa. So, you have to travel the world. Yeah. And you can't upset the ecosystem as well. So if you just come into a place and you just invest heavily in one area, then it upsets the ecosystem for the other areas. If you build a lovely brand new school, then all the other children want to come to the school. Yeah. So you've got to be able to support the whole community, which is much wider than the actual area that you're working in. And then you need a proper supply chain. Then you need to remember when you plant a coffee tree, that doesn't yield coffee for 7 years. So what do you do for the first 7 years? Yeah. So this isn't a quick fix. You don't just go in there and with a big flag and we're going to make it all better for you. It's a long term. And the beautiful project with the Ryuga project is that we signed a lease for 10 years and we agreed initially to invest $100,000 and we invested considerably more. But at the end of the 10-year lease, we give it back to them for $1. So everything
That's
we
really
give it all
nice.
back to them
That's
for $1.
amazing.
Yeah. So we don't want whatever's been created during that decade, that's yours. That's the
all yours.
community. That's it. We'll sell it back to you for $1. And that was enshrined in the contracts that we did. And then
That's
both of us saying, this is mad. Why? Because it's not, we don't want anybody to scratch the surface and realize we're doing it because we just want to make money.
Yeah.
It's going to make money. Doing good is good for business.
Yeah.
So it's going to make money. And that contract was put together in the early days, absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, I've got some quick fire questions for you.
Fire away.
Oh.
Okay, number one. Someone is 18 years old and about to get into business. What's the most important skill to learn?
Look, just say yes and then worry about the consequences afterwards. Just say yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Just agree to everything.
I love that.
Yes to everything.
Okay.
And then work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they say? It's best to, do it first and then beg for forgiveness afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, if for the next 5 years, obviously I know at the moment, and you haven't spoken about this, and it probably is testament to the man that you are that you're not on here making a big plug, but obviously you're coaching at the moment.
Yeah.
What's the next 5 years looking like? What do you want to do?
So I've got a stage in my life now where I'm starting to think, right, what do I do with my money now? So how do I hand this over to my children? How do I buy assets, that they can take on board in the most tax efficient way? And I work with 12 entrepreneurs per year that come onto the program. There's an 18-month waiting list, so there's lots of people that want to come on, and it's not expensive. It's reasonably priced, and I will help you build a business that you can either keep or you can sell, because the DNA of building a great business is 99% the DNA of building a company that can be sold.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which whether you take the blue pill or the red pill at the end of that 1 year period, will help you get more value. And my job is to increase the value by 100%. So you come to me, the business worth £1 million, I'll have that worth 2 million.
So you should be starting a business really with the mindset of how you're going to exit. And you need an exit strategy when you start, basically.
You do, but that's not right for everyone, remember.
Right,
so a lot of people might just want legacy, or they want to and they enjoy the work. But, given the opportunity of reading a great book, sitting on the beach in the Algarve, knowing that I've got a business in the background that's making me money, that's quite nice. I quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
I don't particularly want to go out knocking on doors anymore and pitching my wares, because I should be teaching other people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of founders realize that they're always ingrained in the business, and they devalue the business because they're always ingrained in the business. So it's teaching that from the very early, and also understanding what do people really want in life. Yeah. So, you don't get much time with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You probably only get 1 year as a baby, maybe 6 years as a toddler, maybe 5 years as a teenager. Then they don't want to have nothing to do with you. Yeah. So that time that you could spend with your children is really precious time. What are you going to say to your kids when they grow up? I was, hosting a board meeting. I was pitching. I was this. I was that. They're not going to hear that, are they? So spending time with your kids and your family, I think, is really important.
Okay. If you could be remembered for one thing, for all the things you've done, what would it be?
God, no one's ever asked me that question before. It's a great question. And I'd struggle with that, actually. I think of all my businesses, I'm probably most proud of the impact that Paddy and Scott's has made on the world.
Yeah.
But if I look at but that's a tiny business in comparison to my telecoms business, which really revolutionized how people speak and talk with their GPs and surgeries within the UK. So as a financial impact, probably the Network Europe Group, but as a doing good in the world, probably Paddy and Scott's.
Nice.
That's a great answer.
Okay. And a final one for you. Do you believe anyone can become an entrepreneur?
No, I don't actually. I think that you've got to have belief. You've got to not worry about what people say. And I think there is a massive opportunity for intrapreneurs as well as entrepreneurs. And I've met some really amazing intrapreneurs that are brilliant within businesses. So people that are really ingrained in that business, but they want the security of a full-time salary, a career path, and they would give their all. So intrapreneurs are absolutely worth their weight in gold. An entrepreneur is probably, if you break the word down from the French word emprendre, which means to follow on, an entrepreneur will build and sell, build and sell, build and sell. That is the true meaning of the word entrepreneur, if we break it down to the French meaning or the French verb. So I don't think everybody is, but I think everybody can be part of something quite special.
Amazing.
Love that.
You got any questions left?
No, I'm in awe.
Did I tell you, or did I tell you not? He's
I
going to
like
be
that
an
ending. That was
amazing
really
guest.
nice. Yeah.
Scott, thank you so
Brilliant.
much
Thanks,
for being with
Scott.
us.
My
Thank you for giving up your time. And yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks.
No worries at all. Did you record that as well?
Oh, that's that whole.
You know that table thing?
We knew that was going to happen. Don't worry.
It's still
Change that, don't
You really need to change it. There we go. There we go. At least we've done that bit.
you? Last week.
We had 2 youngsters in who were literally busting everything. Gen Z. All the stupid, all the stupid like stereotypes.
Yeah,
They're
they
going
did
out there
really
and
well.
going, right, guess what? We're going to make this happen. We're going to inspire 1 million young people. We're going to go out on the streets with microphones and faces. We're going to try a podcast. If that doesn't work, we'll podcast produce you. If that doesn't work, we're going to do
We'll try and
this. We're going to do this. Honestly, like little balls of energy.
They're going to
We
become
had them
something
in.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. They do. You know how you look at young people? They either want it or they're sitting waiting for it to come to them. These guys,
They went chasing around London.
Simon Square, weren't they? Yeah.
So he posted of 7. First person, 5 of them. After when they were on the bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Simon Square done. Went from him, went to his Ring doorbell. Couldn't do this. Carried on doing this. Now they ended up doing something with the government, and ended up in a room with Simon Square. And they went, oh yes, waiting for our meeting. Yeah, honestly, they've got such the front.
All right. Then.
Yeah,
Awesome.
honestly. No. 2021.
Yeah, they were.
Never said.
They were.
Those lot of.
And even
But
they
that's-
were
that comes
even
into it.
saying, I mean, they said what 20 and 21. They were even saying they could do it without the other one. They said in business you need someone that is because they're polar opposites
Well,
of each other.
one of them, I mean, just literally,
But they
there's
just-
no filter, there's
What?
no stop, there's like 100 logo. It's like, and if I don't have the other one, take my max it out and buy cameras and this and this and do everything, and then like if you when the credit card, the other one goes right. Hang on,
Yeah,
got to
they
try and do the
work
business
really
thing.
well
You know,
together.
blah, blah, we can invoice someone. Yeah, but if I just go, it's like excited puppy, and then ground it.
But
And
he
they've got
even
this
followed.
nice in between.
He was so desperate to talk to that Rob. What's that guy? Johnny Wilkins. And they'd assured him they'd get it. And anyway, on the day, Johnny ran out of time. So instead of taking no for an answer, he followed Johnny to the train station. All the way to the train. He said, I'm going to get my interview, and just followed him through the train station. Brilliant.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Tom Humphrey.
Hang on, you've done it. You've done their podcast.
I think you've been on their podcast. Yeah,
I did on it.
they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've reached out. Really.
Yeah. I do think there'll be ones.
Well, the thing is, all I hope is that they get enough positive, just like buyers, because they are.
It's refreshing.
I mean,
isn't
literally,
it?
it's like, oh yeah, I thought he was based in. Where are you? From? Watford. Like, you just came down. Yeah, well, it's another chance to get some exposure.
We thought they were both local. One's Woodbridge and one's London. We're like,
Yeah, I know. They're great. One of them's fine.
yeah.
Tom's more grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Tom.
He did. He went to Fram, and he's also part of he's a musician as well, and he does a lot of.
For Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, that's it, Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
There's the energy's great.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure.
Us.
But
No.
And Tom said, just go, honestly,
So I couldn't put a camera in anyone's face.
Harrison's like, no, carry on doing it.
What's the worst going to happen? I'm going to get hit. Okay.
Yeah, and you made a very good point. Actually. Look,
I agree with you. I think there's it's a naturally.
Yeah, and everybody wrong with it.
I'm glad you answered like that. I'm glad you answered that.
I think I see a minimum 50 business. We're looking after 500. So we can see, I could go and meet people and go, oh, you've got great. They leave. They'll.
So I had this very rare. Most. If you're not going to be able to start doing the supplements to do. Yes, you've got to be able to really open your mind just with how you.
Oh, so people don't come with you with an idea. They've already got to be established. Oh, okay.
People are looking to. I'm an exit. My job.
Oh, exactly what I said then. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So when people say to me, "Oh, I'm okay,"
But we have that conversation all the time where people are where you've got business owners that are so in the business, that business won't run if you move them. They are the business. That's trying to get them to put systems in place, remove yourself, see if it runs without you. That's the
weird
problem.
thing is there's so many that we deal with, see them. And it's always the small business. So the small business, you go, yeah, look, our fees are going to be for you 170 quid a month, 300 quid a month, whatever it is. That's what the fee. It's like, look, if you can't see the value, off you go. We've got people that will pay us £1,500 a month and are absolutely relaxed about it. And they're like, yeah, it's just a cost of doing business. We have to pay this. It's great that we've got these people behind us. Everything is great. Everything's taken care of. And that peace of mind is worth every penny we give them. And see it through people and go, yeah, you small guys that are never, ever going to get to that next level. Just won't happen because you're focusing in all the wrong areas, and until you can see what you're supposed to be doing. And as much as we want to, now I could sit there and now I've got a few clients that literally say, can I come and see you? Like, what do you need? And said, sit with me. They go, well, what? Something to do with your taxes? What? Nope. I've just got a few business ideas and I just want to talk to you. Just want to sit with you because I'll come out of that meeting. I'll go, I didn't about this. I didn't about this. I did this. I didn't this. They said, you're like a font of business knowledge. But yeah, but I'm supposed to just be your accountant. Yeah, I know. But if you can, this would be really good. Yeah. None. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked with the Lewis so I've worked with some really big M&A firms and accounting firms. When we had to have our audit done, it's always good to have condenses staff. Especially big corporates that you're working with. But the small accountants, it's rare to find a dynamic accountant because they are by nature risk averse.
Yeah.
First, say to someone working with if you took you out of business for a month, what impact would it have? Yeah. If they say, this is black out there, you're not right, because you need to be able to get building you're based off selling a business. You can sell a business that even now
Business asset disposal relief. They used to be entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So all these different.
But even business asset disposal relief has now gone from 10 to 14 to 18. And all the allowances as well. Yeah.
I've tried it. HMRC, I've got my. Yeah, you go.
But stop trying, Scott. Okay, it's not happening.
What about my right, it's been a pleasure.
Amazing.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
So, what's the what happened now?
So I kind of it's not really and then it goes out exactly. I'll then create some sound bites from when off